Hello, and welcome to our podcast. I'm Gaby Coburn.
I'm Kat Galarraga.
And this is
Besties Unfiltered.
Welcome back to our podcast.
Woo.
Thank you, everyone who's watching and listening on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcast. Thank you. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe.
Yes.
Please like us so we can continue to do this for you guys.
Follow us on Instagram, too.
We're going to be famous.
Yes.
No, we're not going to be famous. But that's okay because we just want to have our small little group chat here
Yes.
with you guys. So thank you for joining us. And happy Thursday. First Thursday of April. I hope everyone had a good April 1st.
Yeah.
What is it called? April Fools.
Yeah.
April
1st.
Fools. If you had any really fantastic pranks that you did or
Let us
anything
know.
cool, like please drop them in the DMs. You can follow us on Instagram at Besties Unfiltered Podcast.
Yes.
Or feel free to
DM us personally, whatever you want.
Wherever you find us, just talk to us.
Yes.
Today, Kat and I are going to talk about something very important in life.
Yes.
And this is something that was brought to our attention by a friend of Kat and just kind of talking about life and talking about relationships. And it's about those icks and those red flags that we see. And maybe
Red flag.
Yeah.
This is me waving an
Yeah,
imaginary flag. If you can't see me, I'm just waving my hand like I'm waving a flag.
We just took our thumbnail picture
Yeah.
for this video, and Kat's like, "Oh, I'm gonna put in some red flags in there." I love it. I can't wait to see it. But yeah,
Yes.
she's waving a red flag.
Yep.
And that is going to be what we're talking about, is those red flags that maybe you don't see, but you see in someone else's relationship.
Yes.
And then this will kind of help you self-reflect and see if that's in your relationship or if you've been through that.
Yeah.
And it's going to be all over the board, kind of.
Yeah,
It's
in
like,
relationships, friendships,
yeah,
anywhere.
a little bit of both.
Yeah.
And very important to talk about.
Absolutely. I just feel like I've been in the dating world a little bit, and I've definitely seen it all, and there's been some crazy red flags in my past.
Oh, goodness. Yeah. And there's been red flags that now I noticed that I didn't see before from, like, past relationships. One that, okay, let's define a red flag.
Okay.
I don't have it on Google or anything. I didn't even look. This is just me talking.
Okay, talk. I'll look
You'll
up the exact
Okay,
definition.
so
yeah.
this is my perception on a red flag. So there are things that in life that you'll find in someone else that you're not going to like. Okay, this is not a red flag. If he leaves the shower curtain open and you hate that, like, that's not a red flag.
That's more of like a pet peeve.
It's a pet
yeah.
peeve. So you need to understand, like, you kind of need to, I don't know, analyze the situation
Yeah.
and make sure you're not, picking a pet peeve
Right.
as a red flag. Because if you pick that, then there's a lot of pet peeves out there that we all have, and then you might miss the opportunity of being with the person you love or having that best friendship over a pet peeve. So what is the definition of red flag, Kat?
So the actual definition noun says a red flag is used as a warning of danger. In a social context now, it says, on social media, red flag often represents the sensitive term red flag that's used in context of dating and relationships to refer as a sign that a person will turn out to be or is a bad or problematic partner.
Ooh, see, that's perfect. So it's kind of like a sign that's going to create problems
Right.
in your future relationship with this person.
Exactly.
And I'll go into then
Yeah.
one of them is someone who is breaking the rules now. And even if they're small little rules, if they're breaking them, what's not to say they're not going to break them later
Right.
in a bigger aspect either. So let's just say they're constantly, I don't know, it could be any rule. It can be a rule that you guys place between your own relationship, or it can be a rule that is a normal, like, government rule.
Okay.
Like, if you catch him, like, he's like, oh, let's go into imagine when you guys are younger, you're going into the convenience store, oh, let's grab some candy, steal the candy.
Oh my goodness.
Then the second time comes around, oh, I'm going to steal, I don't know,
Something at
a Red
Target,
Bull.
yeah.
Steals that. And it just keeps getting bigger. And
Yeah,
bigger. And
that's not okay.
Yeah, it was fine. It was rebel-ish. But if it's a continuous thing, and one of them, you should never be stealing. Just let me make that clear.
Yeah.
If anyone's listening, you should not be stealing. 1. 2, if it just keeps happening, it's a red flag.
Yeah.
That's going to turn into something.
That's not going to go away.
It's gonna get you get used to breaking rules, and then you don't have any, like, value or, like, standards. And
Yeah.
what's not to say he's not going to break any rules later? You know, cheating.
Yeah.
We're in a relationship. Oh, well, it was just one time. Oh, it wasn't anything. It was just a peck. And then the next time it gets worse and worse and worse or whatever. So that's a red
things
flag.
that can escalate really quickly.
Yeah, so breaking the rules is a big red flag for me. I know we all love the bad boy. That's my next one.
There's but there's a difference between somebody being mysterious and a little bit more reserved, mysterious, and a bad boy, which is just, I don't know what it is. It's like in The Hills. Like, remember Justin Bobby? If you've seen The Hills, he was the, like, well, I guess kind of Brody was kind of the bad, like, party boy more so than bad boy.
I like Brody.
Me too. A lot of girls like Justin Bobby, though, because he was such a, like, jerk to Audrina.
And it does feel cool. I mean, okay, I'm still putting myself back in the day.
Yeah.
It feels cool, like, walking in with a bad boy and blah, blah, blah. He has his arm around you. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's it.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing else to it.
I think that in the show they mentioned this too. It's like you always want to be the girl to change them. And that's not really going to happen. People don't change. But you are so hopeful that they will, but they really won't.
You're not going to change. So
yeah.
Like, that was actually one of my other red flags is like the bad boy symptom.
Yeah.
You're not going to change him. Yeah, it's attractive, it's fun, but it's like a preview of what you're going to get in the future.
Yeah.
He's going to be going out all the time. He's going to, the values are just not there. And if he's still in that bad boy stage, move on.
Right. It's almost like a phase. I feel like people can grow out of it eventually, but if they're in that phase, they're not going to commit to anyone.
Like, if you're in your 40s and you're still in the bad boy stage, like, okay, he's not going to change.
Right.
Girls,
he's not going to commit to people. Yeah.
30s, step away. That's just... Okay, you should end your bad boy stage at, like, 22.
Some people never grow out of it, so pick and choose them wisely, hence the red flags.
And that goes also in friendship.
Yeah.
Like, the one girl who's always wants to be the cool girl, like doing things out of the ordinary.
Yeah. Or like going out every single night.
Yeah, or like, gossiping 24/7. It's toxic.
Yeah.
Is what it is.
It's draining, which kind of leads me to when to step back from some friendships.
Yeah, let's see these little red flags.
So these are some red flags in friendships where I'll kind of leave it towards that. They always make it about themselves. Constantly. They never ask you how you're doing. It's always, this happened to me today, or this or this. And it's fine. Like, you're there to hear your friends vent and things, but when it's always about them and they never ask about you, then that's where it kind of becomes that red flag situation. Another one that's mentioned here, it says you don't feel valued or appreciated. Again, that goes into it's all about them, not you. This is a really good one. You feel emotionally drained around them.
Oh, I've had that happen a lot, and it's like that toxic, and like it's just like
you just feel bad after you hang out with them.
Yeah, and it could be anything. They could be saying comments to you that they're like, "Oh, it's so funny," but like, your hair always looks so bad. Like, that's
do you wash your hair? Yeah,
like, that is mean. Do you wash like anything? And at first you're laughing about it and like, oh, she just means the best for me. And no, and when you leave a friendship or leave I was going to say a play date. Not a play date. That's for my babies. But
a situation,
when you leave, like, a hanging out day, and you just feel, like you said...
Drained.
Okay, you should start, like, recognizing it.
Right.
And thinking about how you're going to address this. Do you think in a red flag, like, when you see a red flag, you immediately should dip out? Or do you think it's something you should address?
I think there's kind of like a spectrum on it. Like, there's a really big indicator that it's a red flag. Maybe like the stealing one would be like at the top. And then there's some where it's like, oh, she just kind of threw like a little dig at me. Sometimes it's a reflection of how they're feeling. So maybe take that back, and them putting you down in a sense makes them feel better.
Okay.
So maybe have a conversation with them and be like, hey, like, I don't know how you really meant this, but that kind of hurt my feelings a bit. Like, were you having an off day, or, is it just me? Talk it out. Like, hopefully you're close enough where you can have that conversation and it won't be like a big thing.
Yeah, I mean, if it was like something that was like ongoing for a while.
Right.
And you just got to the point, and you did see the good in that person.
Yeah.
And again, this is not going back to, okay, you think you can change them.
Yeah.
This is just, you really need... listen to your gut. You guys are smart. You guys are beautiful. You know what you're doing.
Yeah.
But if you see something coming up, a red flag coming up, and it's bothering you, maybe you address it if you can. If it's not something crazy.
Right. If it's a reoccurring thing and they're constantly bringing you down every single time, then maybe, okay, cut ties, like they're not getting it. They just want you around so that they feel better. Then it's probably not a friendship you want to stick around for.
Yeah. Yeah. But think about it.
Yeah. And then they kind of all play into each other, but they refuse to respect boundaries that you have. That's like a big one. I feel like that might be more of a situational thing. Like, for example, like if we have this podcast right now and we always record on Thursdays, some people will be like, oh, well, you're always hanging out with her and we don't get time with you. Like, it's not a boundary that you're setting. It's just scheduling. Like, I'm making time for us. This is a work thing and a fun friendship thing. But some people are like, oh, well, now it's all about them, or vice versa. Some people get jealous of friendships and in relationships with who you spend time with.
Yeah, that's a good one to bring up because it's happened. And, I mean, jealousy is a big one. Someone who's constantly jealous of you, that can be really toxic. And I think envy and jealous are two different things. Yeah. Which is, it's funny because when I was talking to my dad about this, he's from Argentina. We're all from Argentina. We're all. Me and Kat. So my family, my brother, myself, my mom and my dad, we were all born in Argentina. My mom grew up in New Jersey, and my dad grew up in Argentina. And so growing up, there was a lot of miscommunication between my dad and I, because I'd be like, oh, Dad, I envy this person. And he was like, why are you always jealous? Yeah. And I'm not jealous of her, I just envy her. And when we got down to it, we realized in Argentina the word for envy translated to jealousy. And the word for jealousy was in a different context. And I was like, oh my gosh, this whole time we've been arguing about it, and it's just because we had different conversation. But yeah, so jealousy can be very toxic. Yeah. And it can bring you down and drain you, like you were saying.
Well, and it's funny because in certain relationships, it could be friends or family that you just are always spending time with. Like, I'm constantly with my sisters and my family, and sometimes people can take that as like, oh man, you're always with them. Like, why do you have to do another thing with them? And with me, it was more so like, no, it's not like that at all. Like, you're always invited, you're always welcome, but I'm just a big family person, and I love being around my family. And it's not for everybody. Maybe that's a red flag for them if I'm constantly with my family too. So I wasn't going to change that. They weren't going to, like that. And that didn't work out in that specific situation. But again, it was a red flag for that person, and me feeling that guilt of why am I feeling guilty hanging out with my family? Again, it's all in moderation. Like, it's not like it's every day either, but when I want to hang out with them, I want to hang out with them. When I want to do my relationship thing, I hang out with my boyfriend.
Yeah. I think that's good too, because you're setting your boundaries, and that's important for, friends and relationships to understand those boundaries, because we set them there for a reason. Yeah, that's good.
That's a good one.
Yeah, always has these good ones. God,
so do you.
I love you. Okay, so a red flag that I have in a relationship setting is when you're asking yourself, like, oh my gosh, we're still dating, and that's it. Like, you haven't made it official, you haven't moved on to the next step, and it's been 8 months.
Okay, 8 months is a while, yeah.
Well, I was going to cap it out 2 months. I'll cap it out 2 months. I gave you that little extra month, but I was going to cap it at 1 month. Maybe I'm a quick mover. I don't know. But I feel nowadays, I've seen this a lot happen in my friendship, like my friends who are dating. And they'll be dating for 3 months.
A while.
6 months. A year. And oh no, he doesn't want to commit yet. He says not yet. Girl, you know that he knew he wants to date you or not within the first week.
Yeah. I think it just takes them a little while to really fully commit.
So we give him a month, we give him 2 months, yada, yada, yada. But when you really want to keep moving and investing. If it's after a significant amount of time and he's like, no, he's just dating.
So your cup is 2 months? 3 months? Mine would be 6 months is kind of the red flag zone for me personally.
Mine was always 2 months.
Okay.
Because also in the setting that I was in college.
Yeah.
And
was it more an exclusivity thing?
Yeah. Yeah. Exclusive. I wanted to be exclusive after 2 months. I'm not doing.
So you can be exclusive and not be technically together.
Oh my gosh. Technical terms of
people. Yeah, a lot of people are like that too, where they're, okay, we're not seeing other people, but I'm not ready to call you my girlfriend, or I'm not ready to fully commit.
What is that?
I don't know. I personally, like, if we're exclusive, we might as well be together.
Yeah, like, what is the
But some people, it's like a trigger for some people to say they're in a relationship.
Yeah, that's something
I'm just keeping an open mind.
Yeah, thanks, Kat. Keeping an open mind. Well, for me, it's either you date me or you're
right,
gone.
yeah.
No, so that was mine. If, like, you're constantly asking yourself, like, or let's take it a notch forward, which I've had this happen with a friend.
Okay.
They were boyfriend and girlfriend for 7 years. I think it was 7 years.
Okay.
And he wasn't making any moves. He wasn't making any moves to get married, engaged. He was living in a different state. And he kept saying, oh, yeah, next year I'll move down with you. And, like, made a promise.
So a lot of promises,
A lot of promise. And it's like, that's hurtful. Because you're sitting there waiting for this guy, waiting for this guy. And you're missing an opportunity of, like, meeting probably the love of your life.
Yeah.
Or someone who actually wants to spend their rest of their life with them. So just look out for that.
It's all communication, too. Like, some people don't want to get married. Some people don't want kids. But you have to have that talk with them and not lead them on either, expecting that they will eventually.
Yeah.
Or change that mindset.
Yeah.
Just communicate. It's the most important thing.
Or you can just go with my rule. It's after 2 months, you're gone. I don't waste time.
You want me or not?
Yeah, sorry. I don't waste time.
Well, I mean, that's good.
That's one of my red flags that I used to do.
Yeah, I found this one that was really, I absolutely hate this, and this is one of my biggest red flags, is when they tell you you're overreacting or you're too sensitive or you're feeling a certain way and you shouldn't feel a certain way. That's a big red flag to me. I hate when people do that and underrate my feelings or my emotions. It's like, oh, you're too sensitive. Oh, you're overreacting about the situation. I'm like, no, I'm not. Like, I feel this way for a reason. They're my emotions, not yours. Granted, there are ways that you can communicate how you are feeling, but when somebody tells me it's an overreaction or I'm too sensitive about the situation, I take that as they're not incentivizing with me and taking my feelings into consideration.
Yeah, that was one of my things too. And I just locked my phone. I had my notes on here. Like, that's a big red flag. And that's not a pet peeve.
Yeah, well, it's not just sensitive and react. People will say crazy or you're being dramatic or it's just these words that aren't what you're feeling and they're just kind of throwing that on you.
And that's hurtful.
They're getting defensive.
And it's almost, it kind of ties in with mine as like a narcissist.
Yeah.
Who always thinks themselves is better than everyone. Like, oh, well, you're not enough. Or you're too sensitive.
Puts you down.
You're not like me. You're not good. And it keeps putting you down.
Yeah.
If he's doing that now while you're in a relationship.
It's only going to get worse.
Yeah, it's only going to, or if you're in a friendship and that's all they do in the friendship, it's only going to get worse. That's something that's very hard to change in someone. So if you want to sign up for that and maybe, I don't know, that's what you want to do, you go for it. But, like, that's something that's not going to change. And it's going to stay there and it's going to hurt in that relationship.
Right. If they say it once and maybe like a heat of the moment, okay, like you kind of get a pass. But then if it keeps happening and they call you dramatic, there's like certain phrases that people wrote. So it's like drama queen, crazy, psycho, people kind of throw out a lot. You're too sensitive, you're being irrational. A lot of those things can be taken out of context. So if you don't kind of communicate within that first few times they say it, they're going to keep doing it.
Yeah. And that's something also to think about. Now, my motherhood, like, brain is going, if this is what you want and you want to get married and you want to have a family, his way of being, so this narcissism, this you're not good enough, is going to be implemented in your child's life. And that's something to think about. Do you want your kids to grow up with someone who is like that? Because that can affect them.
Yeah.
And he could probably...
That's a good point. And they'll be around it and hear it.
Yeah, and he'll probably say that around the children or to the children, not meaning. And it's, you know, again, he'll be like, oh, I didn't mean it, but it came out. And that, again, imagine hearing that over and over again. It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. And so think about that too. It's like, do you want your kids to grow up with that, or do you want yourself to grow up with that for the rest of your life?
Yeah, because it's a downer. You're constantly going to be put down. Either you might have the self-confidence of the world, but if you're constantly being told you're overreacting, you're being dramatic, it's this and that, then it's going to be weighing you down.
I have a question for you, and maybe you can help. So what if someone is in this situation right now who's either dating or even married to someone who is like this or showing these kind of
Yes.
things. And we're not a therapist. We're not
Right. We're not experts.
experts or anything.
Purely opinion-based.
This is a girl group chat
Yes.
for fun, just to talk about things, and maybe this will get you to go somewhere else and, you know, find the help that you need if you're in a situation. But what would you think was the first step to do if you see this happening? If
you feel comfortable enough, just talk to them about it. And if you feel like their first instinct is to be defensive, then that's going to be the first indicator. If they respond to you with another, like, disrespectful comment, then they're not going to really be changing that. If they're more open-minded, maybe approach it with, like, oh, I love that we do, you know, like in a lighthearted conversation. Don't, like, bring it up the second they say it. Bring it up in where you're both in a good place. And it's more lighthearted. Don't bring it up, like, as soon as they say it. Bring it up, like, later. Take your emotions aside. I know it's really hard, but kind of either journal or write it down so you remember specifically what they said, because I always forget in the heat of the moment. Like, I'll be, like, angry or I'll like, black out, literally, and I'm like, oh, what was it specifically that they said that, like, triggered me? So I'll write it down and then just be like, hey, like, you kind of brought this up a little bit ago. Like, I really care about you, but this kind of hurt my feelings a little bit. Like, would you mind, like, telling me why you felt that way, or what did I do that made you call me that or say that I was being irrational or whatever.
I like that you brought up journaling.
Yeah.
That's important.
It is.
So that you don't do it in the heat of the moment.
Yeah.
Journal it somewhere. And journaling was one of our suggestions before. Use journaling, write it down somewhere, and then address the situation when it's a happy, lighthearted moment.
I know. It's not that you're going to ruin the moment, but you're just bringing it up in a place where you're both happy, and it's not like a mood killer, you know? Just bring it up in a nice way. Like, hey, I just wanted to kind of bring this up.
Yeah, and then
I felt this way. Like, can you elaborate just so I understand better?
And if that doesn't go in the right direction that you want, you can reach out to an expert. Mm-hmm. It doesn't hurt. Everyone does it. Everyone has talked to somebody at some point. And if you need help finding someone, I don't know, reach out. We have some connections.
Yeah.
Actually, I was talking to well, yeah.
No, go.
No, that's good.
Okay.
We can help
There's
you.
resources.
Yes,
message us. If you have, you know, again, another bestie that you can kind of talk to and get another opinion on, they're going to want what's best for you, which is something that we always kind of bring in hand. Like, your besties want what's best for you. And if you are kind of catching on to it, chances are they've already seen it too.
Yeah.
And they might feel uncomfortable bringing it up because they don't want you to feel a certain type of way. So, again, having that communication with somebody that's there for you, whether it's venting or just them getting that in your head too, like, it's not just you. Like, I see it as well.
Yeah.
It'll make you feel better.
Yeah, that's good. So there's always us or friends around.
Yeah.
Do you want to bring up some good green flags?
Yes, we're going to talk a little bit of, like, a happier note. There's some green flags too where they're underrated. There's certain things that people do in relationships and friendships that kind of are like, wow, like, I really didn't look too much into this, but it's actually a really nice thing that people do. So some of them are, they seem to remember small details and things that matter to you. So I'm going to give a specific example. I am with somebody now that is very, very detailed. I will wear something, which I always love, like, putting an effort into my outfits when we hang out.
You know our girl Kat.
Try. So I will wear, like, a new outfit, and this person will always notice. They'll be like, oh, my God, like, how cute do you look? Or you look so great tonight. Like, look at you. And that makes me feel so good that they notice. Yeah. But on the other hand, like, if I repeat an outfit, they'll be like, oh, a little throwback. Like, they'll know that I wore it to something specifically, and they remember. And I'm like, wow, like, it's knowing those details, and because I wouldn't remember probably most of the things that they've worn, but the fact that they do, and they know when I've worn it, or the color, and they're like, oh, like, I love that.
That's really nice.
That made me feel really good.
Yeah, I like that about him.
Yeah. I thought it was really sweet, and I've actually experienced it myself.
We shall not name.
Yeah.
Until further notice.
Okay. Some other ones are silence. Silence feels connecting, not awkward and piercing around them. Like, you can both be completely quiet and feel like you're still hanging out, or you're still comfortable around each other.
I think that one's going to be my favorite one. I absolutely love that. And I always tell my friends, too, and I'm like, hey, if you ever want to come over and just hang out, we don't have to talk.
Yeah.
You just want to be around and just, like, hang out on the same sofa and do something.
Or, like watching a movie in the background. Yeah.
Like,
you don't always have to talk.
I'm all about that. And that's hard to like bring. It's like, what, you don't want me to talk? And it's like, no, I just want you to hang out and be together. And that's good. I see, and Nico and I do that a lot. Yeah, it's really nice. And actually today we didn't work from this. We both work from home. And I'm always like, he always works in a different room than I do because he's always in meetings. But I'm like, can you just like work next to me today? And we don't have to talk.
Yeah, but it's nice. So he's there.
But today we didn't get to, and I was kind of sad.
Oh,
but yeah, maybe I'm too clingy.
Come to the next one.
I'm too clingy. But yeah, I like that one, Kat.
Yeah, that one was a really good one. And then this is another one. They can say no and have specific likes and dislikes. Like, it's okay to not agree on everything and just be comfortable with that. Like, I don't know. It can be something super lighthearted or something more serious. Like, I'm not a dessert person. And my significant other is, but they love that. And they're like, okay, more for me. Or I'll just have one bite. And they're like, why can't you eat more? And I'm like, I'm just not a big dessert person.
Yeah. That's a really good one, too.
Yeah, like it's okay to have differences.
I feel like that's important. That's a really good
I don't know
flag.
if you have something that you can kind of bring up on that.
So, like, saying no and having specific dislikes, having specific likes and dislikes is so important because then when you disagree on something in the future, something may be very significant in your life with your kids, like a motherhood brain coming out, like it's good to talk about it and not just someone say, no, it's my way or the highway,
right? But
actually conversing about it and saying, hey, these are the pros and cons, let's talk about this together. That's huge in a relationship. That's something good, like to have that partner that's willing to openly discuss with it, and also having someone, because you can also have someone who's always saying, sure, babe, whatever you want. It's like, do you have an opinion on that? Like, I need to know. Like, I can't be always...
it can't always be you.
Yeah, so it's nice to have someone who you can openly have a, like, discussion with.
Yeah. And then I have some for friendships as well. So some of them is you celebrate each other and you don't compare. Oh, that's us.
Cute. Yeah, you should... I mean, not saying you should, but it's nice to feel happy for your friends.
Yeah. Like, their wins are your wins. Like, I'm always happy for something good.
In my workplace, I have my coworker.
Yeah.
I think we're friends. I don't know. If she listens to this, I think we're friends.
I'm sure you are.
And I love to see her grow. And I just loved, and like, I hope she gets like a promotion. I hope she grows in the company. I'm going to be proud of her. I'm not competing with her. Yeah. We work in the same area, but I want her to grow. And I think that also goes in like sports. You know, if you have children or if you are in sports, like always encourage that, like you want your what are they called? Teammates. 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 Yeah. You want your teammates to do well. And that was important in college. I had some friends on my team in soccer that I felt like they were competing against me.
And comparing, probably.
And it brought me down. And then I kind of reciprocated that. And I feel guilty about that. I never voiced it, but I
think that's hard in a team setting because you always, like, there's some people that are always going to want to be, you know, the best on the team or, you know, the MVP. Yeah. Like, there's a difference between being competitive and comparing.
Exactly. Yes.
Wow, look at me. Oh. Wow. That just came.
Those are good. I like that. Oh, Kat.
It's a victory.
You're the best. I just, like, kissed the microphone with my cheek.
Okay, and then here are just a few that I'm just going to, like, kind of rapid fire. So their presence is calming. We kind of touched on that. They respect your opinion as, you know, should be reciprocated. They honor your boundaries. They make an effort. They're supportive. They make you laugh, which we always do.
Yeah. Those are great green flags.
I just want to leave it on a more, like, happy note, too. Like, just like there's red flags, there's green flags, too. And everything, you know, you just have to take maybe a moment to reflect before you really kind of, like, put that out there. Is this a red flag? Is this a situation I should leave right now? Talk to your bestie. DM us if you feel comfortable enough. We're always here to help.
Yeah. Here, absolutely no judgment.
No judgment whatsoever.
We're open. We love talking with you guys. And if you feel like you need to reach out to us, please do. It's always a pleasure talking with all of you guys. Thank you so much for listening to this episode.
I hope you guys enjoyed.
Yeah, I hope you had a good time. And stay tuned for our next one. And happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday. Bye, guys.